I want to get right to the story you've been tweeting about most today. It's a 16-year-old girl disappears from her bedroom. Police believe she may have run off with a 41-year-old convicted sex offender.
You know that she's hanging around this person. You see her texting nonstop. Look at her phone. Figure out who is she talking to on the phone so much. Why is she hanging out with this guy? I think they're partially to blame for this.
Okay.
I talked to the dad, and the dad had taken away the computer, taken away the phone.
Exactly.
The child, Jacinta backed me up in this, was already in a manic state, and that's what they missed. And it's hard to tell that sometimes, but those thousands of texts suggest that she was already decompensating.
If I had a young daughter and she was caught in a car with a 41-year-old convicted child molester supposedly trying to buy pot, you better damn well believe she's not going to get a cell phone. She's not going to be online.
Parenting is tough. And we have all these electronic media out there. We all try to shut it down. We try to control it. We sometimes need to be able to communicate with the child. I don't know exactly what went down in this case, but maybe they did see that she was decompensating and becoming manic and wanted to have a tether to her through the phone and were clear with her. Do not text this guy. She changed the number and the name that showed up on the screen for this guy. She was on her way already. And sometimes it is tough when a child is not well and starts to manipulate situations and is under the coercive and control of a criminal who is a colossal a-hole.
What we're seeing is the portrait of a desperate woman who has no other identity than that she is a caretaker and thinks that she will have no value to anyone else if she's not this person.
The brain sits in a salt solution, and the sodium and water balance in that solution can get too high or too low. In this case, when you give salt and then restrict access to water, the sodium goes up. The brain swells. Many times it can. It's in a shell. I took the top off the shell. When it swells, it comes up against that bone. Something called the calvaria, this thing right here, which is obviously is the wrong size for it, but it squishes the brain.
A lot of people are blaming social media for enabling this mom, but I disagree. Listen, we're all on social media. Narcissists, people with mental illness, criminals. It doesn't mean it's creating them. I think it's just showcasing their symptoms.
When you're on Facebook and you're getting all these likes, and you're on Instagram and you're getting all these likes and friends and followers, it's feeding this disease. And so we can't excuse what social media means in this situation.
The fact that she was doing this for a specific personal gain to get attention is really what's so distasteful about it. It's really, and it's sort of so indicative of our time. She still needs to be punished, but she needs treatment as well. That's right. And in the eyes of the law, she's a murderer.
Later, LaToya Jackson is here. She joins the Behavior Bureau.
Fantastic.
I would have thought by now I was cute enough to have a stalker, but I have not actually had a real stalker. But I have gotten, you know, disturbing tweets, and I just ignore them. I either block them, or if they're like mean funny, like this guy said I had flamingo legs, and I do kind of have flamingo legs, then I just I'll retweet it and let the haters get to them.
Growing up, we had lots of stalkers, and the police department knew about it, the head of our security knew about it, but they would keep it out of the media in a sense, simply because once it's publicized in the media, sometimes other stalkers join in and feel as if they could do the same thing.
There's certain types of delusional disorders, such as erotomania, I heard you mention that earlier, where people believe that they have a special relationship with usually a famous person. And it can become dangerous when they realize, oh, wait, I don't actually have a special relationship with them, and they get resentful, and then they get revengeful.
They truly believe that they are in love with you, you're in love with them, and you have this whole life together. And once they realize and come to the conclusion that, no, I don't know you, you have nothing to do with me, well, that flips, that turns and changes, and they're ready to kill you and attack you, and they let you know that.
In the early days of social media, I had a stalker. He was on my MySpace. He made a claim that I had implanted something in his tooth that made his sexual organs respond in bizarre ways, and they took the suit. I clicked through the MySpace, my MySpace page. He had a website linking it, and the website was hundreds and hundreds of pages talking about how he was going to torture me and my children. And the guy was psychotic. He was on methamphetamine. He also had maybe some schizophreniform type stuff. He was treated successfully, and his delusions went away, Jacinta. It was kind of a winning story for everybody.
It might be tacky, but this is the way she lived, so this is how they wanted to celebrate her life. And some people nowadays, they don't want to go to a funeral and cry and mourn and be sad. They want to celebrate the life.
All that being said, this is again about the funeral story. Please don't prop me up with my funeral. Thanks in advance. Hashtag funeral trend. Is that somebody else? Then we have another person. Then we have another. It's a trend.
I'm kind of like rethinking the way I
I'm
want to
thinking
go
about moving
out.
my chair, Sam, because you're into it so deeply. But go ahead, tell me what
I
other people
wouldn't
are
mind
saying.
people celebrating me when I pass away.
I don't like that it's so you know, I'm a biologist.
You have no words.
You know what I mean? And I don't like the fact that it's manufactured, that they're all look waxen. They're getting treatment with so-called vitamin cocktails intravenously fed into their bloodstream. There is a picture of that. Reportedly looking for a, quote, boost after a night of partying. I'm furious about this.
Oh, no.
You put a foreign body into someone's vein, there are complications that can occur. My fear is that they're putting people back together to go practice their addiction. They don't give them a referral for treatment for their alcoholism after they replete their fluids. It drives me crazy.
Dr. Drew, don't be Dr. Killjoy.